Welcome back. So adoption is one of the most profound expressions of love, but are you truly ready to take that next step? Today we're joined by Danielle Musaji and Alexa Russell Matthews, both from Rise, and they're going to share some invaluable insights on what it means to provide a child with not just a home, but a place to truly belong. Ladies, welcome to Afternoon Express.
Thank you.
So let me start here. A lot of people are curious about adoption, but also apprehensive around the process. Tell me, how do we begin to have that conversation to bridge that gap?
Well, first of all, one needs to be on the same page with your partner, should you choose to adopt with a partner, to make sure that this is a choice that you are ready to make. Adoption is a starting point of trauma. And so part of that is parents and adoptive parents need to do the hard work to understand how do you parent out of trauma, and also being able to listen to adult adoptees' different perspectives on their learned journey so that you are informed and educated in terms of how you're going to start the process. And then once you go, okay, this is what we can do, even though it can be difficult, it's then looking for an adoption organization that does the process, either near to your area or suits you and your personality. As a Rise, we always say, date your adoption agencies, get to know them, because this is a place where you're going to be vulnerable, they're going to ask certain questions, so you need to be open to the process as well.
Yeah, I want to pick up just a little bit on the fact that you say adoption is the starting point to trauma. What does that mean?
Well, a lot of people say adoption is beautiful. And it is, but it's also messy and it's complicated because adoption starts with grief and loss for both the child and the biological parents. There's loss in adoption. As adoptive parents, we need to acknowledge those losses and that grief, as well as we need to learn how do you attach to a child that isn't biologically rooted from you, because technically your journey starts as strangers. So how do you begin that journey as well?
How do you know, how do you identify that this would be the right time for you to start exploring adoption?
If you're coming to the decision to adopt because life didn't go to plan A, so whether you and your partner didn't stay together, or maybe you haven't met, you know, the bloke in the shining armor, the oak on the horse, or Mrs. Right, Mr. Right, whoever it is, and so you're going to do this as a single person, it's important that you've done the grief work of knowing that you might do this for the rest of your life as a single person. Also, when it comes to infertility, adoptees are not magic bullets. You're not suddenly going to produce a child, despite all the anecdotal stories that do the rounds. This needs to be your plan A. And so only when you're 100% ready to say, yes, I can do the work, this is actually plan A. We've closed all the other doors on all the other options. Can we say that actually this is the time to start saying, okay, now we're good to start exploring the work of choosing adoption.
Are there specific life circumstances, perhaps, that also indicate that this might be the wrong time for you to start the process of adoption?
One of those things might be that you're coming out of a relationship and it didn't work, and you just always wanted to be a parent, and so now we're going to do it now. Because, you know, that didn't work, but maybe this will work. Because in adoption, once you're approved and you've gone through that screening process, there's a guaranteed outcome.
Okay.
Once, we don't know how long the wait is, which is an important question that's an important consideration. But once you have been approved, you know that your road to parenthood has begun. The motivation of why you are choosing this is incredibly important. So if you're not sure why you're saying yes, or if you can say yes to the extra tasks that come with parenting through adoption, then you need to question, if I can't do that, if I don't have the support. For example, in South Africa, the majority of our adoptions are cross-cultural or transracial. What does that look like in my family? If I bring a child of color into my family, and now we're specifically talking to white and lighter-skinned people, and Danny speaks to that in depth in some of our courses, what does that look like? We know that those are real issues, and what does that mean for the child? How are you going to stand up for that child as the child goes through life? We can't pretend that doesn't exist.
Just my final question, perhaps, Danny. Red flags that one needs to be on the lookout for that say to you, the timing is off, I'm not ready, maybe this isn't even a good fit, because we also don't like to talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, the red flags again for you is, are you trying to find a child to fit into your family and your lifestyle? Do you have an expectation of what this child is going to be, what that child is going to look like? Because a lot of time people come to adoption with a fantasy of a child when it actually isn't going to be the case. And then there's big disappointment and shame and guilt with that as well. So those are red flags. The other one is if you can't do the wait, there is a long waiting time, and you're trying to rush the process, and you're looking for loopholes of how do we get that baby as fast as possible. That is going to be a red flag, as well as when you approach adoption agencies. If they say that you can get a newborn baby, that is a red flag as well, because I have to state that legally children cannot be placed for adoption as newborns. You're going to get a child from youngest 4 or 5 months, and that is because the care of biological parents are vital. We want to keep children with their families, and the biological parents need to be ready to make those decisions. So that is why you need to be ready.
Ladies, thank you so much for this conversation. I think it's just been invaluable. The information that you've shared is going to come in so handy.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. And anytime you want to come back and pick up that conversation you said later, we're around. We are around.
Absolutely. This has been a truly enlightening discussion. And if you've been considering this life-changing step, remember that support and guidance are always available. And if you'd like more information, you can always be in contact with Arise via www.arisefamily.org. But for now, we're going over to Emo and Jenny in the kitchen.